Hey, everybody, it's Scott Steen with winnersandwhiners.com coming to you with part two of Today in Sports Betting. This is the college basketball show. It is Wednesday. It is December 2nd. It is hump day. And we're excited. We got NFL today. If you haven't checked out our video on that, make sure you stop by and check out our video on the NFL. And we're going to take a look at the what we would call the two marquee games on the slate for today. We'll take a look at the Zags and West Virginia, and of course the Illinois Fighting Illini against the Baylor Bears. Kicking it off with Gonzaga. This is a hell of a team, Scott. They're an 8-point favorite in this one, and there's a lot to like about this Gonzaga team. There really is, but you know, Huggy Bear usually has them ready up there in Mountain Town. So it should be an interesting game. We should have a little bit of a fun game here. We had two fun games yesterday. You and I, well, we were all over the Michigan State game. We had both sides right there. You
swept the board. I went 2 for 4.
What's that?
You swept the board. I went 2 for 4.
I was trying to kind of sideways into that. A nice way to say it.
I wasn't going to give you the satisfaction of doing that. So I decided I'm just going to bite the bullet on that one and just take it.
Okay. But, you know, in fairness, that KU Kentucky game could have gone either way.
They had 7 points in the first 12 minutes, and I'm thinking, what is happening right now? And then they ended up with 29. So they ended up scoring about 22 points in the final, about, 8 minutes of the first half. Yeah. And I'm thinking, oh, Kansas is going to win this game. That's one of those games where you look at the halftime score and you go, wait a second, Kentucky's only up 7? And you know that it's going to completely fall apart for Kentucky because it was already starting to unravel at the end of the first half, and it did. So happens.
They just can't shoot from outside, man.
No, I said that on the air. They can't shoot.
Well, when we talked about it, it's been years. It's not just. It's
who's the last really good 3-point shooter Kentucky's had that's a star player? Jamal Murray?
Maybe.
I can't really think of anybody else who's been a really good shooter. I mean, Tyler Hero, of course.
Yeah, okay.
But I feel like he should have had a bigger role with Kentucky.
Yeah, he's done better in the pros than he did in college.
Same thing with Devin Booker when he was playing in college. Yeah, so I'd say Hero, but Kentucky. That's the point, though. We're naming like one shooter who played at different times. Like we just mentioned
one shooter every 4 years, basically.
We mentioned Jamal Murray, Devin Booker, Tyler Hero. I don't think any of them played together. And we just mentioned 3 singular shooters. They've never been good from shooting from the outside.
Not good. It's a weird strategy by Calipari to get all size and length. And
I'm okay with it if you embrace it. Like if you're Purdue and you just have 3 7-footers and just say go nuts, then like sure you can run a type of offense there. But when you're trying to run some hybrid between using one center and 4 guys out wide and none of your guys can shoot, that's not really a good idea.
Problematic. Purdue's kind of the Oakland Raiders. They're kind of their Las Vegas Raiders now, but they're kind of the Raiders of college basketball. Stay with me for this one. The Raiders, they don't care what. They want the speed. They don't care how good you are, whether you can catch, whether you can run patterns. Doesn't matter. Give me a wide receiver with speed in the first round. And Purdue's kind of the same way.
That's all they care about.
Purdue's like, do you have somebody that's 7'4"?
Preferably somebody European who's played maybe 3 weeks of basketball.
Yeah. We got this. We got another guy that's 7 foot. Okay, beautiful. Send him over to us.
A freshman this year is 7'3".
Well, that's what I'm saying.
They lost Harms, who went to BYU. Of course, Isaac Haas and some of these people graduated. It's like, oh no, we found them in some nuclear power plant in Russia. I'm like, all right, sounds good. Yeah, it sounds about right. But yeah, so no, it's just one of those things with Kentucky that I think. Don't get me wrong, they're going to get better. This team's still very talented. Just how they're going to lose. They're going to lose in the tournament because they're going to go 2 for 18 from 3, and they're going to lose.
They're going to lose the way they lost last night.
Yeah.
That's a preview of what they're going to look like in the round of 16.
Yeah, sounds about right. I think Kansas can make a run.
Kansas is a team that always is a slow starter as well under Self.
I'm just saying, though, like they're not even starting off that slowly this year. I mean, losing to Gonzaga is losing to Gonzaga.
Right.
But no, this Kansas team I actually like, which is dangerous because Bill Self is one of my all-time favorite fades on brackets because he always underachieves. But I actually really like this Kansas team.
Yeah, get sucked in. It happens.
And then you have Michigan State and Duke is, oh boy.
Not yet. They ain't there yet.
Michigan State's good. I'll give them that. But
we talked earlier in the week, Scott. I like returning veterans early in the year in college basketball.
I said Michigan State doesn't have the biggest ceiling, but they're a consistent team, and Duke has a ceiling, but they're nowhere near it.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens there. But this Duke team, they also can't really shoot that well.
No, not yet. Not yet.
Anyway, I don't want to spend too much time talking about what happened yesterday, but
nope.
Basically, a lot of blue bloods.
I'm sure you don't.
A lot of blue blood. Well, it was fine with me. I won a parlay on Kansas money line, but just in general, a lot of blue bloods have a lot of problems right now. That's all I'm going to say.
You're right. Let's talk about one that doesn't, and that's the Gonzaga Bulldogs.
For the record, Gonzaga is a blue blood. Accept it.
That's what I said.
It's for 20 years.
Yeah, I don't. Is that not?
No, I'm saying that some people, when they think blue bloods, they immediately think of Duke, Carolina, Kentucky, Kansas, all these teams. Yeah, Gonzaga's been more consistent than basically all of them in the last 10 years.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, if you want to talk about, if you talk about Indiana's a blue blood and Gonzaga isn't.
Does Syracuse count anymore?
No, they don't.
I don't think it does.
I don't think they ever did. I don't think
That's fair.
Gonzaga's 8-point favorite here at 154.5 is the total going up against Bob Huggins and the West Virginia Mountaineers. Scott, this was a kind of a game that was thrown together at the last minute. Gonzaga was supposed to play Tennessee in the first round of this tournament. And Bob Huggins said, actually got on the phone and called guys at ESPN and said, hey, you think you can set us up a game with Gonzaga? And bingo, bango, Bob's your uncle. That's exactly what happened. So
I give props to Bob Huggins.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Mountaineers team is playing well.
They're fine. They've also had, I'd say, a little bit of an easier schedule up to this point. I know Western Kentucky is a team that has a huge upside, but is also a little bit inconsistent.
Yeah, they have. They just played they just won the Bad Boys Mowers.
They beat Memphis, which I thought was impressive. But then I saw them yesterday, and they got absolutely smacked by Louisville. So there's consistency issues. But
they beat Memphis, VCU, and Western Kentucky in the finals. That Western Kentucky game, they were down 10 points and were able to make a rally. I think if you go down, we talked a little bit about this off air. I think if you go down 10 against this Gonzaga team, you ain't making a rally.
This Gonzaga team, I've already talked about it before. They were the first bet I made on them to win the title. I got them at 10-1 on Fox Bet. But I'm taking Gonzaga. As much as I want to give Huggins some hope of, they run a press. They can give Gonzaga a problem. No, they can't. No, they can't. The issue you have with Gonzaga is that they have so many good ball handlers that even if you run a presses work when you only have about two guys that can handle the ball. Gonzaga has about 7 on the roster, and they also have some size in the interior to help out with the rebounding, and they can shoot well from the outside. And when Huggins' teams get into foul trouble early on, Gonzaga can actually make all their free throws, which is helpful. This Gonzaga team is just on another planet. And you saw with Kansas yesterday, that Kansas team is very good.
Yeah.
And Gonzaga smacked them.
Makes that win even more impressive that the Zags put up against KU.
I think Gonzaga wins this game by around 14.
Yeah, I've got a premium on this, but I do also like the over here, Scott. I think this is a game that's going to be played at Gonzaga's pace. It's not going to be played at West Virginia's pace. I think they're going to abandon the press fairly quickly. The press hasn't been working very well for them yet this season. I don't know if they don't have the personnel or if they just haven't had the practice time, but for whatever reason, it's Press Virginia has not really been a thing as of yet. I'll tell you what, I don't know who I'm more impressed with. I really think that Timmy has surprised me, Scott, with his dominance inside. I saw
him travel on about 4 straight possessions against Kansas. Other than that, though, he's been really good.
No, I thought, yeah, he is. I think he's taken a big step this year.
Yeah. He needs to work on him stepping through double teams a little bit more, but as a whole in the block, he's very solid.
But Jalen Suggs is the guy that they were really, really hoping would be good at some point.
That's a player right there.
Yeah, he's already good. He's averaging about 17 points a game.
And he actually goes to the rim. He's not afraid of contact. He's not the kind of guy who's trying to finesse and flop and draw calls. No, he's going into your chest.
Yeah, that's right.
Which I actually think is quite refreshing.
Got a great first step. Plays great defense, which is something you don't see a lot of out of freshmen.
You have him and Ayai on the perimeter, both solid defenders. And the reason why they give up so many points is because of pace. But you saw what they did against Auburn. They put the clamps down in the second half.
Yeah. Yeah, they can do it when they need to. Yeah, I think this game is going to be played at the Zags pace. I think we're catching a good number there in the what do we got at 154.5? Yeah,
I'm not touching the total there because I do think that West Virginia offensively is not that great. So I am a bit concerned that you might see a situation kind of like what happened with Auburn, where Gonzaga might score 80-something and change, and West Virginia gets in the 60s, and they might not really pull their end of the bargain for the over. I like Gonzaga. I don't know how many times I need to sound without people getting bothered that I keep repeating myself. This Gonzaga team is the best team in the country, and I'm not even sure it's number 2, but this isn't even close.
No, I mean, you want to talk about, I mean, I guess
I have no idea.
it's a little early at this point.
It's very early, but you can tell Gonzaga's already separated themselves.
Oh yeah, no question. There's a much bigger discussion about who's number 2 than there is about who's number 1. Let's talk about a couple teams that may be number 2, Scott, as that's going to be our other game.
This actually is the team I would put at number 2. But
Baylor Bears hosting the Fighting Illini of Illinois. Baylor 4.5-point favorites, 144 is the number there. You know, Scott, I like this Illinois team, but they really haven't beat anybody yet. They
barely beat Ohio, if that counts.
Yeah, that's the problem. Is they've destroyed 2 horrible teams in North Carolina A&T and a perennial bet against team in Chicago State, and then struggled with the Bobcats of Ohio, winning by 2 as a 16-point favorite. Meanwhile, Baylor has pretty much been as good as advertised. They beat Louisiana Lafayette by 30 as a 21-point favorite, and then
forget about that. They scored 112 points.
Yep, scored 112, and then crushed the Huskies 86-52 as an 11.5 point.
I will put a caveat on those 2 wins, though. I don't think either team are very good. Very good. I know Lafayette has always been an atrocious defensive team in the Sun Belt. They have been for years. That team can't guard anybody. And Washington just lost yesterday to Riverside. That Washington team's terrible.
Yeah. I would posit, though, that Lafayette and Washington are better than North Carolina A&T and Chicago State.
100% true. I'm just throwing it out there that if you want to talk about Baylor looking impressive, that is true. But you can compare those two wins to Illinois' 2 wins, and they stack up closer than people think. Because Washington, you lose to Riverside? What, are you kidding me?
I don't even know what that is. I don't even know.
You see Riverside as a team in the Big West.
Yeah.
They lost by double digits. They got killed.
Yeah, it's obviously not ideal. So I think that's the point was neither one of these teams have played anybody.
Yeah, so this is a huge test for both teams.
So what do you got here?
I'm leaning Baylor. I've seen Illinois against Ohio. I think this team's good. I had money on them against Chicago State, which is one of the funniest bets I've had all year because I took them minus 37.5. They won by –
and that game actually went to 42.5.
They won by 59.
Still covered.
They won by 59. So right. That was a fun time. Illinois has a couple of really good offensive players. They got Cockburn at center, who I think is one of the most underrated centers in the league, who's averaging 15 and 11.7. So he's phenomenal. They got Ayo Dosunmu, who I think is a potential top 10 pick. I know some people in the comment section previously kind of laughed at that notion. I think worst case scenario, he's top 20. He's averaging 25.7 points per game, 7.7 rebounds, and 6.7 assists. And he's shooting roughly 56% from the floor. He's great. He's a phenomenal player. I think he could go top 10. But you have those 2 guys, 2-headed monster. They also have Adam Miller, who's a pretty solid shooter, shooting 47% from 3, averaging 18 points per game. They have a very, very solid offensive core. The issue I have with them is defensively because Ohio really kind of torched them for 73 points. And Baylor – Baylor always plays the zone. They switch up defenses. They're very unique. I think Illinois can get caught off guard by that zone. And this Baylor team, Scott Drew, tremendous coach. And I know that people talk about it, and I know if he's not on the same level as Bill Self and in terms of household names, based on recent results over the last couple of years, you can make the argument that Scott Drew is just an elite college basketball coach, and there's really no way around it.
Well, the other thing is about Scott Drew is the fact that, where Bill Self walked into a situation where you've got a blue blood team that, their name pretty much does all the recruiting. This is a Baylor team that was deep in the doldrums when Scott Drew took over.
In the doldrums, and there was also a football school.
Yeah, also a football school, but they had, a lot of problems, a lot of them off the court, and basically he started with nothing.
I'm just saying everyone cared about Baylor with Art Briles as the coach back then for football. And now they've completely switched to a basketball school. You got a lot of pieces from last year. You got Teague, who's a very solid guard, and Butler. Is that arguably the best backcourt in all of college basketball?
I think it is. I think you can certainly make the argument that it is.
Gonzaga maybe, but probably not because of experience. And I think Ayai is good. I don't think he's great. But yes, I think Butler and Teague are just – I don't know what more you want from a backcourt.
No, and I always look for a strong, experienced backcourt early in the season and then late in the season come tournament time. And they provide that stability, that consistency at the beginning of the year when a lot of teams are trying to figure out who's going to do what the roles are going to be. To have those two guards in position, that is a huge advantage.
Baylor has a ton of depth because their top 4 leading scorers are all guards. I mean, their top 4 leading scorers are guards. So you got Butler, Teague, Flagler, and Mitchell. They're all averaging double digits, at least 12 points per game. Then you also have Vital, however you want to pronounce it, off of the bench, who is, I'd say, the second coming of Draymond Green in college. He's this undersized center who can pretty much guard every position.
Do you worry about this? You worry about size for Illinois in this one? About being able to? You worry about Baylor being a little small here?
No, I think Cockburn's good, but I really think that Vital's that good of a defender. If you've watched Baylor play, you know exactly who I'm talking about. Vital is a ridiculous defender in all of college basketball, and he is very, very close build-wise to a Draymond or a Jordan Bell. Undersized center, but they can guard all 5, and I think that creates a ton of switching potential for pick and rolls. So for me, I think Baylor's going to win. I think Illinois is a good team, but this is a massive step-up spot for a program that hasn't exactly had many step-up spots in the last, I don't even know, 10 years, even more, arguably since Darren Williams was there. So I'm going to go Baylor because they've had a lot of big games over the last couple of years in the Big 12. I think they'll rise to the occasion. They also have more scoring depth. I think Illinois relies too much on 3 guys for all their scoring. So I think Baylor will win this game.
All right. I've got it the same way. I've got Baylor to cover the 4.5. Slight lean to the over as well.
Yeah, I agree.
Baylor plays with pace, and that's when you've got a team that plays with pace and they're the better team, they drag the other team along. So that's the way that works.
I think one thing that's also worth mentioning is that Baylor used to have an issue with 3-point shooting. Kind of like a West Virginia issue where they used to play a very physical style defense, unique, win low-scoring games, couldn't shoot. They're shooting 50% from 3 this year.
Yeah.
I know that's been against easy competition. 50% is 50%. Now they're also shooting 50% from the line, which is a problem. And, that kind of is going to come with the territory with Baylor because they were decent for the shooting team last year, but historically speaking, they're usually not. Right. So that might be the main reason why they might not win the whole thing later on in the year because they might miss some big free throws. I can't brag about Kansas's 3-point shooting at 44% and not talk about Baylor shooting 50%. They're shooting the same percent from the free throw line as they are from the 3-point line. You know what insane that is? That's nuts.
It's nuts. It really is. It's I don't know. To me, free throw shooting is about. It's
a small sample size, but when Baylor is scoring at least 90 points a game and they're shooting 50% from the line, this team's efficiency is off the charts.
There's room for improvement there.
I'm going Baylor.
Okay. Yeah, I'm with you. Baylor in the over.
Yeah.
All right. Very good, my friend. Anything else about today's card? Any other sneaky plays you want to throw in there?
This does involve an article I wrote about one of the games today, but I talked about on the football show. I was going to mention it briefly. I found a team. It is D3 that is worse defensively than Mississippi Valley State. I found it. I found a team. I was writing an article on the Murray State, Middle Tennessee State game last night, and I found out that Murray State in their first game this season scored north of 170.
What?
They set the program record for most points in a game. They scored about 175 points.
And who did they play?
They played this D3 team called Greenville. So I looked up this team, Greenville. They've played 3 games so far this season, all against D1 competition. They played against Murray State, gave up 173. They played against Kansas City. They gave up 138.
That's impressive.
They played against Samford, gave up 174. I found a team that's worse than Mississippi Valley State.
That is dreadful.
And if they would ever play against Greenville, you might see 250-plus points. That's all I'm saying. So I found that's a little bit of a fun nugget. It doesn't provide any bit of value to you at all.
No.
But if you have a chance to see Greenville at any point in college basketball, you might want to flick the channel to it because you might see some scoring records. 2 of the first 3 games, at least 173 points allowed.
That
almost sounds impossible.
And that UMKC team, they're a dreadful team.
They covered against Kansas State, though, which tells you all you need to know about Kansas State.
Yeah, that's Kansas State. It's gonna be a long year for my Wildcats.
Yes,
buddy.
but I'm just saying they've given up 170 plus in 2 of the first 3 games. Now that's a basketball team right there. So Greenville, shout out to you in D3.
Yeah, well done. I like take a little bit of a look at Oregon versus Mizzou today.
You like Oregon or Mizzou?
I like Oregon laying the 4. I think this is 2 teams on very different levels. I think it's Oregon teams for real.
Well, looking at some other plays potentially, I'm looking at SMU.
Yeah, I know. Play against Houston Baptist, almost an auto fade team.
SMU scored at least 90 points in each of the first 2 games, and Baptist gave up 100 to Arizona State. So even though SMU, people remember with Larry Brown, kind of played a little bit of a slower style, this SMU team plays pretty up tempo, and Houston Baptist is the kings of up tempo.
Yeah,
I think SMU could score 110.
Yeah, I think the over is a lock, 158 on that one.
Yeah, it's been kind of fluctuating a lot this morning. I know the spread has gone from 30 to 32. I think if you're going to be looking at these type of – you know that I've been laying a ton of big lines this year, and all of them have won. Mm-hmm. So I feel like that kind of comes with the territory of fading these really bad teams that the market can't adjust for. I don't know how you adjust for Houston Baptist, but SMU's offense is actually very good.
Yeah, don't be scared of those big numbers, guys. Just
early in the year. Later in the year, maybe. But early in the year, the market –
You don't want to lay 30 in conference, but –
Just saying.
Yeah, there you go. All right, that's a basketball show, guys. As always, if you want more information on these games and all the college basketball games going on today,
so you also like SMU?
What?
You also like SMU?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
You done?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can wrap up. It's all good.
You can't keep me in the middle of my wrap up. I'm ramping up here, man.
You're ramping up for the wrap up.
Yeah.
I was telling you to hurry it up. That was like the Academy Awards music, like the move it along thing.
Playing me off, are you? You got shit.
Do you remember that Chappelle Show skit?
What?
You remember that Chappelle Show skit?
What Chappelle Show shit? Which one?
He did a skit where you can just bring around like a sign that says like speed it up, and it plays music like you're kind of playing somebody off for the Academy Awards.
Nice.
Somebody's at dinner and they're talking about themselves, and you can just play it, and it tells them like hurry it up.
Cool story, bro.
Thank you. You can wrap it up now if you want. Whenever you're ready.
You got somewhere to be?
No, not at all. I'm just pushing your buttons.
Your life right now. This is it.
I'm just pushing your buttons.
Okay. Check out Winners and Whiners, kids. Deep dives into every game. Be there. Live it. Love it. Know it. Live it. It's Winners and Whiners. All right. What else? See, now you made me lose my place. No, we appreciate you guys watching as always. Drop us a note in the comment section. Let us know what you're playing today. A lot of college basketball games. What do we miss? What are we on? You agree? You disagree with these big games? Whatever you think, throw it there in the comment section. Don't forget to like our videos. Don't forget to subscribe to our channels, of course. And, yeah, that's it for all of us over here at Winners and Whiners. Hope every one of those tickets in your pocket turns into cash money back in the window. For myself, for Scott Reichel, for the whole rest of the gang at Winners and Whiners. Appreciate you watching today. You guys have fun. Watch a little football. Watch a little basketball. And go out there and make some money, all right? You guys take care. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow on Today in Sports Betting. Take care, everybody.